going on, family? I know it took me some time to get on, but I had some other stuff to take care of. You know what I mean? Business calls. When business calls, you got to be on duty and on task. You know what I'm saying? But, I'm not going to leave y'all, man. I ain't going to leave y'all hanging. Y'all know what it is, man. Y'all know who it is, man. It's best in the world. You know what I'm saying? I'm here rocking it out on another edition of Black is Go, episode 6. Y'all see who I got on here? I got no other than the incomparable, you know what I mean? The compelling, the wonderful, the outstanding, you know what I mean? A man of just high esteem and high degree, the intellectual, real intellectual. I know I say intellectual so much, but he's really intellectual. You know what I mean? A socialite, you know what I mean? Somebody who was a part of the civil rights movement, an activist, you know what I mean? A writer, everything, man. I got the brother Malcolm X, man, feature, man. The incredible Malcolm X is featured today on Black is Gold, okay? But before I get into this, y'all, let me take a pause for the cause. You know what I mean? Shout out to M3. M3 was good. Salute to you, my brother, as well. All right? M3, I know you like Malcolm X a lot. You know what I'm saying? Let me put the link up in the chat for y'all, so if y'all want to jump in, y'all can jump in and talk about this Malcolm X thing. Now, Malcolm X, man, listen, he's very controversial as well. I forgot to include that. Malcolm X is very controversial. Okay, some people like a lot of things that Malcolm X stood for. Some people don't. Some people feel like he's a traitor. Some people feel like, that his head got too big while he was in the Nation of Islam, and he kind of turned his back on the movement. You know what I mean? Some people feel like he wasn't a good representation of Black people, or how we should move, how we should react throughout, the civil rights or whatever. A lot of people feel a lot of different things about Malcolm X, okay? It's a lot of opinions, a lot of feelings, a lot of whatever. Now remember, Malcolm X, throughout his journey, and he really did have a journey, okay? Spiritual, socialite, social journey and all that, he changed, okay? So, early on he was more radical, right? It was more, white man's the devil. if they come at you, shoot them down, you know what I mean? Delete them if you have to, all that. Fight back, right? But as he started to kind of gain more knowledge, wisdom, and he started to become more refined in his message changed to where he's seen, all people who are of Islamic faith as one. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Anybody who was of Islamic faith after his journey to Mecca, you start to see that, hey, there are people of Islamic faith from all creeds, colors, and walks of life. So how can I say that, the white man's the devil? You know what I'm saying? So, he started to change his, his viewpoints, you know what I'm saying? And as he started to change his viewpoints, he unfortunately he met his demise, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of crazy because it's like he reached his apex, right? And once he reached his apex in his message, that's when his demise hit, you know what I mean? And Brother Malcolm X went through a lot, man. He went through a lot in the South. He's seen a lot when it came to the Ku Klux Klan and all that, bothering his family and basically, doing things to harm his family. He went through a lot, y'all. You know what I mean? Of course, he was in prison, because, he was thugging it out for a little bit. All right, he had a thug activity going on, unfortunately. You know what I mean? But that helped to refine and help him become the great man that he needed to become, okay? So, with no further ado, all right, let me get into the story of Brother Malcolm X, all right? This is via Wikipedia. Of course, I'm not putting the Wikipedia up here because they are not giving me a charge on YouTube, all right? I ain't fighting no copyright claims. I ain't dealing with none of that BS. So, you know what I mean? Y'all gonna have to take it at face value, but y'all been rocking with me, so y'all know what it is, all right? Okay, Brother Malcolm X, born Malcolm Little. Uh-oh, man, M3 right in the building too, right before I get into it. I knew M3 was gonna be here for Malcolm X. I said, shit, if he gonna be here for one person, it's damn sure gonna be Malcolm X, because he loves him goddamn Malcolm X, man. How many times, let me ask you this. How many times have you watched the movie Malcolm X? I'm gonna ask you that. You probably don't even remember.
Man, look, countless of times, different versions. Okay, I can't remember the name of the actor, because you watch the original part where they have like the documentary, but somebody else played Malcolm X, right? And it's like a well-known actor. You probably remember
Denzel Washington.
Denzel, yes. That was my first moment. I was like, okay, this is Malcolm X, right? Okay, like, he's a very bright brother, but don't let the glasses fool you now, okay? Because he was on to something, Look, man, yeah, the moment you posted that right on a YouTube stream, I was like, yo, I don't care what I'm doing right now. I'm hopping up in there, right? Because you know why? Malcolm is my hero, man. You know, believe it or not. You
Mm,
know,
mm.
look, if anything, right? You know, I would choose violence too, just to protect my families. You know, and to protect myself as well too. Now, here's the thing. I know nobody didn't start off like no good person, right? Because Malcolm actually like to like some research
You're in the
before
matrix. You're in the matrix. I'm through.
he
You're in the
faced
matrix.
racism.
In the matrix.
Oh shoot! Hold on for a minute. Give me about 5 minutes. Hold on. Damn it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, y'all. Look, as he's taking the 5 minutes, let me get into a little bit of Malcolm X. Okay. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy how people just put the most craziest stuff on Wikipedia. I'm not even going to get into some of this stuff, all right? You know what I mean? I'm just going to get into as early as, of course, the Nation of Islam period, the departure, and his activity after leaving the nation, all right? I'm not going to get into the whole beef with him and the Nation of Islam. I'm not getting into all that, okay? I'm just going to cover, I'm really going to just cover the things that really matter about Malcolm X, man, that people really are inspired by, okay? Now, I mean, we have enough of, controversy and beef and also the BS, all right? You know what I mean? And plus, y'all can do your research, and most of y'all probably already know about the stuff between him and the nation anyway. And if you don't know, go do your research, all right? So, with that being said, let me get in to the highlights of this man's life, all right? Okay, let me get to who Malcolm X was, okay? So Malcolm X, born Malcolm Little, later Malik El Shabazz, May 19th, 1925 through February 21st, 1965, was an American Muslim minister and human rights activist who was a prominent figure during the civil rights movement, a spokesman for the Nation of Islam until 1964. He was a vocal advocate for Black empowerment and the promotion of Islam within the Black community. A posthumous autobiography on which he collaborated with Alex Haley was published in 1965. All right. Malcolm spent his adolescent living in a series of foster homes that were relatives after his father's death and his mother's hospitalization. Wow. He committed various crimes, being sentenced to 10 years in prison in 1946 for larceny and burglary. In prison, he joined the Nation of Islam, adopting the name Malcolm X to symbolize his unknown African ancestral surname while discarding the white slave master name of Little. And after his parole in 1952, quickly became one of the organization's most influential leaders. He was the public face of the organization for 12 years, advocating Black empowerment and separation of Black and white Americans, and criticizing Martin Luther King Jr. Now, Martin Luther King Jr. might be featured. All right. Well, listen, if you follow the page, you kind of already know who's going to be on there. I got it listed on the live section of my of my platform, right? I'm gonna start developing playlists on my platform so you guys can see things a lot more clearly. But give me some time. I've been busy with other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Stuff with this channel, stuff with Knowledge and Relationship channel, and just personal stuff. Like I got a lot of other stuff going on in my life, man. You know what I mean? Brother got, I got to do stuff. I go outside, I clean my home, I have other business ventures. Like it's hard for me to just only do YouTube all the time. So look, for Black Files and other shows, I'm about to really kind of make it seem where you guys can see the playlist for those shows and they can kind of be, structured. But anyway, right? So that's just up with the channel. So let's continue on Malcolm. So he criticized Martin Luther King Jr. and the mainstream civil rights movement for its emphasis on nonviolence and racial integration. Malcolm X also expressed pride in some of the nation's social welfare achievements, such as his free drug rehabilitation program. Throughout his life, beginning in the 1950s, Malcolm X was subjected to surveillance by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. In the 1960s, Malcolm began to grow disillusioned with the Nation of Islam, as well as its leader, Elijah Muhammad, who might be featured, I don't know. He subsequently embraced Sunni Islam and the civil rights movement after completing the Hajj to Mecca and became known as El Hajj Malik El Shabazz. After a brief period of travel across Africa, he publicly renounced the Nation of Islam and founded the Islamic Muslim Mosque, INC MMI, and a Pan-African organization, the Pan-African Organization of Afro-American Unity, OOAAU. Throughout 1964, his conflict with the Nation of Islam intensified. He was repeatedly sent death threats. On February 21st, 1965, he was assassinated. He transcended in New York City. 3 nation members were charged with the transcendence and given intermediate life sentences. In 2021, 2 of the convictions were vacated. Speculation about the assassination, the transcendence, and whether it was conceived or aided by leading or additional members of the nation or with law enforcement agencies has persisted for decades. Okay, shout out to this Party Line. What's going on? What's going on? Salute. A controversial figure accused of preaching racism and violence, Malcolm X is also a widely celebrated figure within African American and Muslim American communities for his pursuit of racial justice. He was posthumously honored with Malcolm X Day, which he is commemorated in various cities across the United States. Hundreds of streets and schools in the U.S. have been renamed in his honor, while the Audubon Ballroom, the site of his transcendence, was partly redeveloped in 2005 to accommodate the Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz Memorial and Educational Center. Oh, man, that's what's up. Man, you got a center and all that. All right. Let's get into the early years, all right? Malcolm X was born May 19, 1925 in Omaha, Nebraska. Salute to Nebraska, salute to Cornhusker, Miss Nebraska. Also salute to Miss Polly. I think she's out there too. The 4th of 7 children of Grenada-born Louis Helen Little and Georgia-born Earl Little. Earl was an outspoken Baptist lay speaker, and he and Louis were admirers of Pan-African activist Marcus Garvey. I might get into Marcus Garvey, y'all. That might happen, all right? It's a strong possibility. You know what I mean? Salute to Lady E. You know what I mean? He said, good evening, Mr. Best, my number 1 fan, M3. Wow, M3, I didn't know you was a fan of Lady E like that. I ain't know, brother. You got to let me know. Lady E, good to see you in here. But Earl was a local leader of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, UNAI, and Louis served as a secretary and branch reporter. Sending news of local UNAI activities to Negro World. They encapsulated self-reliance and black pride in their children. Malcolm X later said that white violence killed or transcended 4 of his father's brothers. Wow, that's crazy. Because of Ku Klux Klan threats, Earl's UNI activities were said to be spreading trouble, and the family relocated in 1926 to Milwaukee, and shortly thereafter to Lansing, Michigan. There, the family was frequently harassed by the Black Legion, a white racist group called Earl accused of burning their family home in 1929. Wow. When Malcolm was 6, his father transcended what has been officially ruled a streetcar accident. Though his mother always believed Earl had been transcended by the Black Legion, rumors that white racists were responsible for his father's death were widely circulated and were very disturbing to Malcolm X as a child. As an adult, he expressed conflicting beliefs on the question. After a dispute with creditors, Louise received a life insurance benefit, nominally $1,000 to about $1,800 in 2022, and payments of $18 per month. The issuer of another larger policy refused to pay, claiming her husband Earl had committed transcendence on himself. Wow. To make ends meet, Louise rented out part of her garden and her son's hunting game. In 1937, a man Louise had been dating, marriage has seemed a possibility. Vanished from her life when she became pregnant with his child. In late 1938, she had a nervous breakdown and was committed to Kalamazoo State Hospital. The children were separated and sent to foster homes. Malcolm and his siblings secured her release 24 years later. Wow. Malcolm attended West Junior High School in Lansing and then Mason High School in Mason, Michigan, but left high school in 1941 before he graduated. He excelled in junior high school, but dropped out of high school after a white teacher told him that practicing law, his inspiration at the time, was no realistic goal for a Negro. Later, Malcolm X recalled feeling that the white world offered no place for a career-oriented black man, regardless of talent. Wow. Now, some of us still feel that way. Some of us still feel that way, man. We feel like no matter what talent we got, as long as we have African descent, we always gonna be held back. Some of us still feel that way. Party Line giving a shout out to Lady E. All right. From age 14 to 21, Malcolm had a variety of jobs while living with his half-sister, Ella Little Collins in Roxbury, a largely African-American neighborhood of Boston. After a short time in Flint, Michigan, he moved to New York City's Harlem neighborhood in 1943, where he found employment on the New Haven Railroad and engaged in drug dealing, gambling, racketeering, robbery, and pimping. According to biography, Bruce Perry, Malcolm also occasionally had intercourse with other men. Oh, okay. That's a new one there. Usually for money. Though this conjecture has been disputed by those who knew him, he befriended John Elway Sanford, a fellow dishwasher at Jimmy's Kitchen Shack in Harlem, who aspired to be a professional comedian. Both men had reddish hair, so Sanford was called Chicago Red after his hometown, and Malcolm was known as Detroit Red. Years later, Sanford became became famous as comedian actor Red Fox. Wow. Okay. Red Fox was getting it in back in the day. I ain't even know that. That's crazy. Summoned by the local draft board for military service in World War II, he feigned mental disturbance by rambling and declaring, "I want to be sent down south." Organize some Negro soldiers, steal us some guns, and kill us some crackers. He was declared mentally disqualified for military service. In late 1945, Malcolm returned to Boston, where he and 4 accomplices committed a series of burglaries targeting wealthy white families. Oh, okay. In 1946, he was arrested while picking up a stolen watch he had left at a shop for repairs, and in February began serving an 8 to 10 year sentence at Charleston State Prison for larceny and breaking and entering. 2 years later, Malcolm was transferred to Norfolk Prison Colony, also in Massachusetts. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let's get into the Nation of Islam period. Let's get to, when it start getting, it's already real, but this when it start, you start seeing the light, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like fairy.
Okay, he back, M3 back, he back. You know what I mean? M3, what you think so far of everything I shared, man? Just in his early life. We only covered his early life so far. I haven't got to the Nation yet.
Well, I'm glad that you cover like everything like in details, because that's where I was going to talk about like in his early life before he got converted, by the Nation of Islam. You know what I mean? Like, Malcolm X wasn't like the Malcolm that we all know, like that we still know today. Hey man, look, everybody start off with somewhere, with his flaws and all that. But once he got converted to the Nation of Islam, man, he really became, powerful and effective, which I know that's what you was going to break on in the next few minutes. But nevertheless, man, I understand, man. I had people that I knew, they did larceny, they did all types of theft and crimes. But once you you allow, whether it be the Lord or whether it be the Nation of Islam or whatever, your whole life could change as a person just by making one decision. You know what I mean? So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just glad to be a part of this, man. So I could just be thank you, Malcolm, for everything that you've done. I don't look at nobody's past like that, because you could also change your future, and you could change the future of other people. So my point is, look, it's like this. I'll make one last point, and then I'll let you rock. But imagine somebody look at you because you did criminal activity. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So now everybody's going to judge you based off your past. But the point is, you never know when this person is going to turn his life around. You never know when that woman's going to turn her life around. Everybody looks at a woman's past, and they go by the numbers, the statistics, and then it's just like you're 3 or 4 forever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But people can be converted. You may have a promiscuous lifestyle, and then at the end, you may want to change. Some people will, pretty much seem to damnation. But, anybody, man, as long as you make a sincere change, man, and repent, you cool. And shout outs to E. Yes, I'm still your number one fan, of course. You know what I mean? I'm a big fan of Lady E Ministries. Hopefully that will come out soon. To a stream near you.
Don't do that to her. Don't do that to her. She already thinking that she's a celebrity already. Don't do that to her. And don't ever, when it comes to her, don't ever mention Drake, okay? You mention Drake, she loses her mind. All right, Lady E, relax, okay? Relax. All right. So, now, this is when he gets converted into the Nation, right? You know what I'm saying? Lady E laughing, I see you. All right, so now he's in prison, right? So between Mr. Muhammad's teaching, my correspondence, my visitors, and my readings of books, months passed without my even thinking about being in prison. In fact, up to then, I had never been so truly free in my life. This is a quote from Malcolm X. When Malcolm was in prison, he met fellow convict John Bembry, a self-educated man he will later describe as the first man I have ever seen command total respect with words. Under Bembry's influence, Malcolm developed a voracious appetite for reading. At this time, several of his siblings wrote to him about the Nation of Islam, a relatively new religious movement preaching black self-reliance and ultimately the return of the African diaspora to Africa, where they would be free from white American and European domination. He showed scant interest at first, but after his brother Reginald wrote in 1948, Malcolm, don't eat any more pork and don't smoke any more cigarettes. I'll show you how to get out of prison. He quit smoking and began to refuse pork. Let me tell you something. That's a real thing. All right. Look, leave them cancer sticks alone. All right. And look, the swine, okay, will lead to your decline. All right. Leave the swine alone. All right.
Yo, wait. Let me ask something to that, Mr. Best, right? If I may.
Yes,
let me tell you something, right? Our people, look. This is gonna be kind of funny, and it's gonna be very contradiction of me, right? You know, because of course, like, you know, I'm a carnivore. I love eating meat, you know. But look, our people, right, were not originally meat eaters. Okay, there's another word for it, right? In the cross between a person that eats fruit and you eat vegetables at the same time. So I can't just say we're 100% vegetarians or fruitarians or whatever. But definitely, you know, our culture, right? We used to eat raw foods. Okay, nothing was cooked, you know, nothing was boiled or whatever. We just ate everything raw. Okay, if you're sick, the only time like you're gonna be like boiling something is like when you're boiling herbs, and that's pretty much it. Making your own type of tea. But other than that, like that swine, that pig, the salami and all that, you know, unfortunately, it was forced upon us, you know, by, you know, our oppressors. They ate the finest foods, which till this day, when you ever go over to like, you know, a white person's house, you'll notice that they have all kinds of organic foods from Sprouts, Trader Joe's, and they're like just tall and lean, right? Most of them, you know, and very healthy. But for us, you know, and I'm not trying to diss our soul food, but a lot of stuff that our families cook is unhealthy. We're cooking canola oil. We're making fried chicken. We're eating, well, in a very few occasions, folks will probably eat chitlins and shrimp or whatever. But we inherit all the bad stuff is because we had no choice but to eat it, and we adapt into it. Maybe that's why some of us are having inherited like health problems. That's why, like, oh, she said, grow your own health, right? Yeah. Another, I want to say just one thing. You know, our ancestors, right? We actually had long hair, like beautiful long hair. Our hair wasn't like brittle and chopped up and all that stuff. Our hair is like it doesn't grow the same like every other nationality because we inherit all the bad stuff. You know, the processed chemicals and all that was made by our oppressors, but really for them. It wasn't really meant for us. So because we pretty much are nutrient depleted is the reason why like we're a little different as opposed to like other nationalities that's eating their own organics. That's all I got to say.
Man, that's true, man. And we may cover somebody, you know, a certain doctor, you know what I mean, who was about the health, all right? I might cover a certain doctor who's really about that health life, all right? You know what I mean? And no, it is not Dr. Dre, okay? But Dr. Dre might just might be featured on Black is Gold. I might get to the good Dr. Dre on Black is Gold. I don't know, all right? All right, so if some of y'all are really tuned to the channel, if you look under the live button under my channel, you'll see a list of who's about to be featured on Black is Gold. But it's not that. Remember, it's every day in February, so I don't have every single day listed. I have about 13 days listed, so up to the 13th. But after that, you know, it's kind of a guessing game. After that, y'all ain't gonna really know. You know what I mean? Unless I share it, I might share it, I might not. Don't know. So Lady E says, go to another country outside North America and Europe and eat the food and watch how different you feel. Ooh, yes. And some of the foods that we eat are banned in other countries. You know what I mean? I ain't know that Frosted Flakes was banned in a lot of countries, completely banned. You know what I mean? Great. The tiger and all that, nah. They ain't got that tiger. That tiger outlawed. All right, you can't even have Frosted Flakes. Even I found that even was it Gatorade? It was something else, man. It was something common that people like to eat or drink, and it is banned. Okay, they banned in other countries. Frosted Flakes is one of them. I think maybe like Hot Pockets or something like that is another one too. But
I
yeah,
can't remember. Frosted Flakes was like General Mills cereal, but no, they're
that's
Kellogg's.
General Mills. That's Kellogg's. It's Kellogg's.
They're Kellogg's. Okay.
Yeah.
Most cereal, especially like General Mills, they have this chemical. All right, I might be butchering the first part, right? Phosphate, triple phosphate or something, right? If I'm
I know what
pronouncing
you're
it
talking about.
wrong, hmm?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a chemical that you use to kill weeds. And I'm talking about
Wow.
grass. So you put a few drops into your cereal, but the government made it okay because it's a trivial amount to it, as so they say. But all that still over time will still cause health issues. So look, my thing is, I'm not trying to turn this to like a health show, you know what I mean? But just be careful what you eat.
No, it's all good. It's all good, bro. It's all good. Also, we got Lady E saying if you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. Yes, if you can't pronounce it, definitely don't eat it. All right. Okay. If you don't know the word, if you don't even know what ingredients that is within the things that you're eating, if you're like, I don't even know what that is, like, what is that? Right? And you got to look it up, then yeah, you probably shouldn't be eating it. Okay. You should just say the most simplest ingredients. All right. That's common to man. Right? Water, kale, you know, grapes, fruits, strawberries, blueberries, whatever should be into it, you know what I mean, should be things you're able to pronounce, okay? It should not be these crazy ingredients that you can't pronounce or that you know nothing about, all right? And then you wonder why you're feeling crazy. That's why. All right, let's get more into Malcolm X, all right? You know what I mean? After a visit in which Reginald described the group's teachings, including the belief that white people are devils, Malcolm concluded that every relationship he had with whites had been tainted by dishonesty, injustice, greed, and hatred. Ooh. Malcolm, whose hostility to Christianity had earned him the prison nickname Satan, became receptive to the message of the Nation of Islam. In late 1948, Malcolm wrote to Elijah Muhammad, the leader of the Nation of Islam. Muhammad advised him to renounce his past, humbly bow and pray to God, and promise never to engage in destructive behavior again. Though he later recalled the inner struggle he had before bending his knees to pray, Malcolm soon became a member of the Nation of Islam, maintaining a regular correspondence with Muhammad. In 1950, the FBI opened a file on Malcolm after he wrote a letter from prison to President Truman expressing opposition to the Korean War and declaring himself a communist. That year, he also began signing his name Malcolm X. Muhammad instructed his followers to leave their families' names behind when they joined the Nation of Islam and use X instead. When the time was right, after they had proven their sincerity, he said he would reveal the Muslims' original name. In his autobiography, Malcolm X explained that the X would symbolize the true African family name that he could never know. For me, my X replaced the white slave master name of Little, which some blue-eyed devil named Little had imposed upon my paternal forebearers. Ooh, that's some strong words, boy. Early ministry. After his parole in August 1952, Malcolm X visited Elijah Muhammad in Chicago. In June 1953, he was named Assistant Minister of the nation's Temple No. 1 in Detroit. Later that year, he established Boston's Temple No. 11. In March 1954, he expanded Temple No. 12 in Philadelphia. And 2 months later, he was elected to lead Temple No. 7 in Harlem, where he rapidly expanded its membership. In 1953, the FBI surveillance of him turned its attention from Malcolm X's possible communist associations to his rapid ascent in the Nation of Islam. During 1955, Malcolm X continued his successful recruitment of members on behalf of the Nation of Islam. He established temples in Springfield, Massachusetts, number 13, Hartford, Connecticut, number 14, and Atlanta, number 15. Hundreds of African Americans would join the Nation of Islam every month. Besides the skill as a speaker, Malcolm X had an impressive physical appearance. He stood 6'3". Wow, I didn't know he was that tall, and weighed about 180 pounds. One might describe him as powerfully built, and another as mesmerizingly handsome, and always spotted spotlessly well groomed. Yeah, he had swag, yo. Malcolm X definitely had that swag, man. Marriage and family. In 1955, Betty Sanders met Malcolm X after one of his lectures. Then again at a dinner party, soon she was regularly attending his lectures. In 1956, she joined the Nation of Islam, changing the name to Betty X. One-on-one dates were contrary to the nation's teachings, so the couple courted at social events with dozens of hundreds of others, and Malcolm X made a point of inviting her on the frequent group visits he led to New York City's Muslim museums and libraries. All right. Gotta give a shout out to Mr. He Said, what's going on? What's going on?
Little brother.
Yes, I know Mr. He Said. I know you. You know, you're one of the brothers who definitely subscribe to the Islamic faith, bro. If you want, please come up, share your thoughts about Malcolm X, about your faith, and about whatever else you want to share, brother. You know this is an open space. You know how we get down. You know what I mean? And shout out to the whole Travis Shroud Media. All right, Mrs. She Said as well. Check out Travis Shroud Media Group on Thursdays. Okay, Thursdays evenings. Okay. Also, Mr. He Said got Cerebral Saturdays. Mr. She Said got Shame Sundays. You need to be ashamed of yourself, goddamn.
Shame. Yes, definitely talk to my brother.
Hey, I love saying that shit, M3. You know what I mean? Hey, Mr. He Said, if y'all need a soundbite for y'all shows, man, holla at me. All right. So, and also he will be on tomorrow. Okay, on. Conversations Awareness Podcast, okay? Look, Conversations is not going anywhere. You know what I mean? QB legacy will live on, all right? And it will live on in the Conversations Awareness Podcast, all right? That'll be tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, all right? Get ready, y'all. We coming. Along with the Harris Shroud Media Group and, my brother, man, from another, Arshawn Dave, man. We about to really get it rocking, all right? We bringing awareness out here, man, okay? To a lot of social issues, all right? And I already know the first topic we're going to talk about. I already know. It's been everywhere, all right? And I'm going to give you, I'm just going to tell you, the first topic is going to be police brutality, all right? We're going to get into that tomorrow. We're going to cover it from all aspects, not just Tyree Nichols. We're going to talk about everything, okay? You know what I mean? Are the police just out of control? Okay, we're gonna get into this, all right? But let me continue to get into, Brother Malcolm, all right? And Mr. He Said, you're gonna be up in a second. You know what I mean? Yeah, salute to QB. Yes. Our heavenly sister in the streams. Yes. All right. Malcolm X proposed during a telephone call from Detroit in January 1958. He proposed to her in January 1958, and they married 2 days later. They have 6 daughters. Atala, Arabic for the gift of God, perhaps named after Attila the Hun. Kubila, oh man, he had a daughter named after QB. Wow, that's beautiful. Named after Kubla Khan. Yisha, named after Elijah Muhammad. Gamala Lumumba, named after Gamal Abdel Nasser and Patrice Lumumba, and twins Malachi and Malik. 1965, after their father's death, and named in his honor. Wow. So she was pregnant, during the time that he was transcended. Man, okay. Man, I don't know if M3 home, he got a sound effects or not, you know what I mean? But I guess I'm going to have to do it verbatim. Are you home, M3? I don't know. Are you home?
Don't worry, I'm home, but hey, I like your sound, Bitch. Go ahead.
All right. Go ahead, M3.
When the raindrops fall from the sky. Salute. She stole my thunder. Hello, everyone. That's our bootleg version when we don't have the sound bits.
Oh, man. She Stole My Thunder. Man, okay, She Stole My Thunder did a premiere about sometime earlier. She did over the weekend. Oh, it was phenomenal, man. She was showing different, art and things of that nature. She Stole My Thunder. Thank you for sharing that. It was very, very insightful. Very therapeutic as well. It reminded me of a lot of ASMR stuff. So I don't know if that's what you're doing, She Stole My Thunder, but if that is, salute to you, because that was bomb. I really enjoyed that. Thank you. And I enjoyed.
Man, she did well with the train ride too. She was showing different avenues from her city. I think it was Montreal she was in. I could be wrong, but shout outs to the Canadians out there and Drake as well too. But yeah, She stole my thunder, man.
Relax, lady. Relax, man. I know we said Drake, but relax. All right.
Yeah. I don't want to call security.
Well, let's go into make sure special effects. No worries about the bootleg version. I'm for it. Thank you, sister. She stole my thunder. We appreciate you. She said, "Oh my, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yes, I loved it. Thank you so much. You know what I mean? Whenever you're doing premieres or anything like that, email me. I got your email. I email you all the time with the links and all that. So just email me, and I'll definitely come up. I'll support. I'll even share it." She said, "Don't get downgraded to number 2, fan." Ooh, okay. She mad.
Wow.
About the Drake.
Okay.
Right? She said, "LOL, please know with security." All right. All right. Let me continue on Brother Malcolm Little. All right. I'm sorry, Brother Malcolm X. My bad. Malcolm X proposed a telephone call. Okay. I got into all that with his wife. Okay. So let's get into when he got arrested. Right. This is the Hinton Johnson incident. The American public first became aware of Malcolm X in 1957 after Hinton Johnson. Well, he didn't go to prison, but Hinton Johnson was speaking of police brutality. This is basically it. A Nation of Islam member who was beaten by 2 New York City police officers. On April 26, Johnson and 2 other passersby, also Nation of Islam members, saw the officers beating an African-American man with nightsticks. When they attempted to intervene, shouting, "You're not in Alabama, this is New York," one officer turned on Johnson, beating him so severely that he suffered brain contusions and subdural hemorrhaging. All African-American men were arrested. Alerted by a witness, Malcolm X and a small group of Muslims went to the police station and demanded to see Johnson. Police initially denied that any Muslims were being held, but when the crowd grew to about 500, they allowed Malcolm X to speak with Johnson. Afterward, Malcolm X insisted on arranging for an ambulance to take Johnson to Harlem Hospital. Johnson's injuries were treated, and by the time he returned to the police station, some 4,000 people had gathered outside. Inside the station, Malcolm X and the attorney were making bail arrangements with 2 of the Muslims. Johnson was not bailed, and police say he cannot go back to the hospital until his arraignment the following day. Considering the situation to be an impasse, Malcolm X stepped outside the station house and gave a hand signal to the crowd. Nation members silently left, after which the rest of the crowd also dispersed. Wow. Yo, that's some real power right there. I remember they showed that in the movie. That was ill, too, when they did that.
Yo, let's pause on that real quick. Mm-hmm. Because here's the thing, right? There's a big difference of how, like, our leaders have done versus these other people that trying to, like, adopt themselves as leaders. Or I'll just say foster themselves. Because they're only temporary at the moment. See, the real leaders, right, are the ones that are willing to put themselves out there, and they have leverage in communication with their fellow people. Okay? You cannot get stuff done as a black person as you could, back then. Back in in the early 1950s with the civil rights movement. You know what I mean? Because black people had a role, they had a plan, they had an understanding, and they had a clear, precise direction. See, the thing is, if you could bring a whole squad, 500, 5,000, not even the police could stop you like that. I'm just saying, because like the Neil song, right? We're a force when we're together. Okay, he may be a movement by himself, but a force when we're together, united as a unit. But now these days, people are just scatterbrained, and then you have these dumb entertainers, right? That's trying to act like fake leaders, but no one's willing to sacrifice the cause because you're still getting that white man's check. Okay, so because of that, anything that happens to our people, our so-called people that we're looking up to, will be easy to turn a blind eye on us. They'll tweet, they'll Twitter or whatever, or Facebook, IG, but they would not put themselves on the line. They will not give it the careers for any of us, and we know that. And that's why there's no more unity, just like how we was unified with Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. I just want to point that out there. That man was a powerful dude, man. I'm telling you.
So to answer your question, she stole my thunder. I don't know. And Lady E says, like Rihanna said, tell your friends pull up. Yeah, everybody pull up, man. Pull up. I'm not here for a long time because remember, we got our main show, okay, on our main network, Knowledge and Relationships, okay? We're gonna be covering something very controversial, all right? A very pristine social issue, okay? Look, y'all, pull up for that, all right? So we're not gonna be on here too much longer, y'all. All right, so I didn't realize it was 5:13, but yeah, we gonna be here too much longer. But with that being said,
Oh, don't worry,
Mr.
we're gonna
He
start
said,
at 7.
oh, we starting at 7? Okay, so we got time. Okay. So, brother, he said, what's going on, man? What's going on, family? What's good? What you think about Malcolm X and what we shared so far? And this your views of Malcolm X.
Peace to my family, peace to the gods, man. Amazing
He's
topic. I
God.
Peace,
appreciate
peace.
y'all for just shedding the light on this brother. You know, this black is gold been dope, but today I had to tap in and just show my appreciation and say thank you for covering this particular fella because he was an inspiration for me, man, in more ways than one, and just showed me that the way we start out doesn't have to be the way that we finish. And I'm definitely a product of that. You know, even though I wasn't the worst street dude in the world, I wasn't even considered a street dude around my way, but just I had other aspirations and very volatile. Could have went in any direction at any given time. And brother Malcolm, you know, showed me that with direction, with maturity, and with an amazing woman, you can turn out to be an incredible man. You may have to sacrifice your life at the end of the day, but you could turn out to be an amazing man.
Man. So let me ask this question, Mr. He says, so, okay, being of the Islamic faith, right? And this is something that I really appreciate about the Islamic faith, the nation, all of that, man. Like when it comes to our people, right? Because I know there's people of other creeds and races that subscribe to the Islamic philosophy and to the religion and things of that nature, right? But speaking specifically to our people, like why are people why does it speak to our people so profoundly? Like what do you think about that? Like it really speaks to the essence of us. Like in Christianity I see it, but with the nation and just with the Islamic faith, I feel like it really speaks to the to the man of African descent. You know what I'm saying? It really speaks to us, or the woman of African descent. Like it really speaks to our people in a very, very profound way. Like, why is that? Why do you think that is?
True indeed. True indeed. I agree. That's what gravitated me to it, and I think it's because it's realistic. It's obtainable. We have goals and we have rules that are very, doable for men in Christianity per se. Not an attack on Christianity by any means. I started out as one, but to be perfect, to be near perfect, to not cover your neighbor, to not curse, to not be a glutton, to not have lust, to not have envy, to not that's really hard. For Muslims, we have a more practical faith. You stay away from pork, you stay away from devices that are going to harm your body as a temple. You stay away from white women, you fast at Ramadan, and you practice certain rules and practices that we do. You don't speak about another Muslim man unless he's present. You don't allow another Muslim man into your house unless you're home, and so on and so forth. So it's just a lot of rules that were very doable and very realistic in my opinion. So I gravitated toward it because of the reality of it, the science. And then when you get into the gods and building in that nature, it was very scientifical, very mathematical. Everything can be proven. So I was more in line with that personally than this imaginal man sitting up in the sky judging my right or wrongs.
Man, wow, that's deep, man. That's deep, man. All right, let me continue. Let me continue with more of Brother Malcolm's story, man. Mr. E said definitely stay up here, bro, because I definitely want to hear more of your insight from the things that I'm about to share. All right, so let me go. Okay, so one police officer told the New York Amsterdam, all right, that's a prominent paper in New York. If you don't know about the New York Amsterdam, all right, that's a very, very prominent, newspaper and news broadcasting place. I think they're still around. Yeah, they are still around. What am I talking about? It's kind of like the New York Daily Times. That's another prominent one. Y'all don't know about that? Do y'all research? Mr. E said know what I'm talking about. No one man should have that much power. Within a month, the New York City Police Department arranged to keep Malcolm X under surveillance. It also made inquiries with authorities in other cities in which he had lived and prisons in which he had served time. A grand jury declined to indict the officers who beat Johnson. In October, Malcolm X sent an angry telegram to the police commissioner. Soon the police department assigned undercover officers to infiltrate the Nation of Islam. Wow. Okay, so now we're going to get into the increasing prominence.
Can I chime in before you jump ahead?
Yes, sir.
That day was really the day he sealed his coffin, because it seemed theatrical in the movie when he said one man shouldn't have that much power, but really actually in Harlem on a Tuesday when the police just beat up a man and all of these people come out in his defense, for him to be able to get all of those people to leave in a matter of 5 or 6 minutes. That was unheard of. We known for lingering, hanging around and doing what we do. But again, that level of discipline to not only have it on the nation, fellas, then all of the 85ers started going home too. They started breaking up. And so, that's the day they seen like, we got to watch him and we gonna Biggie and Pac him.
Man. Say that again, brother. You know what I'm saying? Because that was huge, man. Because at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like you said, they wasn't used to one of us having that much influence, you know what I mean? And doing it in a way where it was structured, it was organized. You know what I'm saying? Remember, we was always looked at as buffoons or illiterate or savages. You know what I'm saying? Mandingo and all these other just very, very racial and biased and just destructive terms, the N-word and all that. So we was always put under that microscope. So now when we show a level of intelligence and decorum, you know what I mean, and we're organized, now, we got too much power. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It's crazy though. It's crazy. Okay, let me get into the increasing prominence. All right, this is when he take off. All right. By the late 1950s, Malcolm X was using a new name, Malcolm Shabazz or Malik El Shabazz, although he was still widely referred to as Malcolm X. His comments on issues and events were being widely reported in print, on radio, and on television. And he was featured in 1959, New York City television, broadcast about the Nation of Islam, the hate that hate produced. In September 1960, the United States General Assembly in New York City, Malcolm X was invited to the official functions of several African nations. He met Gamal Abdel Nasser of Egypt, Ahmed Sekou Touré of Ghana, and Kenneth Kandua of the Zambian African National Congress. Fidel Castro also attended the assembly. Whoa. Look, if y'all know about Fidel Castro, even all the people I just shared about, all right? You know what I mean? Look them up, okay? All these names I just named, look these people up. These are prominent names, all right? You know what I'm saying? A lot of times they don't want you to even research these people, even look them up, even find out why they are important, okay? But they are definitely important, all right? And some of them might be featured on Black as Gold. You never know. I might think I'm crazy, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Talk about some of these brothers, you know what I mean? All right, and Malcolm X met publicly with him as a part of welcoming committee of Harlem community leaders. Castro was sufficiently impressed with Malcolm X to suggest a private meeting, and after 2 hours of talking, Castro invited Malcolm X to visit Cuba. That is huge. Okay, I just cannot go over that. That is huge. Remember, Cuba and America, they had a little beef back then. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know what I mean? That's when the whole missile crisis and all that went down and all that. So, you know what I mean? Bay of Pigs. You know what I mean? If you don't know, do your research, y'all. Do your research. This is stuff that y'all should definitely be knowing. All right. And there's a reason why Castro was targeted and why Cuba is still under target by America to this day. You know what I'm saying? There's a big reason for that. And if y'all do your research, you'll be able to find out. You know what I mean? And of course, it has to do what it always has to do with colonization, money control, and just want to control people who are not, you know what I mean, bending their knee to the colonizer, basically. That's all that has to do with. You know what I'm saying? Amongst other things as well. But that's the big part of it. So, this stream might get taken down from the shit I'm saying, man. I'm ready for it. Advocacy teaches while with the nation. From his adoption of the Nation of Islam in 1952 until he broke with it in 1964, Malcolm X promoted the nation's teaching. These included beliefs that black people are the original people of the world, which is true, all right? That white people are devils, and the demise of the white race is imminent. Ooh, man. Louis E. Lamach said that those who don't understand biblical prophecy wrongly label him as a racist, and as a hate teacher, or as being anti-white, or as a teaching black supremacy. One of the goals of the civil rights movement was to end disenfranchisement of African Americans. Exactly. But the Nation of Islam forbade its members from participating and voting in other aspects of the political process. The NAACP and other civil rights organizations denounced him and Nation of Islam as irresponsible extremists whose views did not represent the common interests of African Americans. Malcolm X was equally critical of the civil rights movement. He called Martin Luther King Jr. a chump, and said other civil rights leaders were stooges of the white establishment. He called the 1963 March on Washington the farce on Washington, and said he didn't know why so many black people were excited about a demonstration run by whites in front of a statue of a president who had been dead for 100 years and who didn't like us when he was alive. Woo! Damn! God damn! When the civil rights movement fought against racial segregation, Malcolm X advocated the complete segregation of African Americans from whites. Now listen, I've heard of this, okay? I even heard that some still want this. I heard they want to take like Atlanta, North Carolina, and some other cities, and we form like this big ass union, right? And we just segregate ourselves from everything. Now listen, I love y'all, but I'm not leaving California, okay? I'm just gonna do it. All right, I'm not leaving California. So if y'all find a way to get a California delegation, I'm with it. All right. Just find a way to get a California delegation, I will join. But if you cannot find one in California, I'm not coming. All right. I'm not living in Atlanta or North Carolina, none of that shit. All right. It's too cold. It's too southern. I love y'all, but I'm good. You know what I mean? So I just got a message. Let me see what is it? Okay.
Oh, that's just me, like in the private chat.
Okay, bro, that was you. All right, let me get into it. But the civil rights movement fought against racial segregation. Malcolm X advocated. Okay, I read that part. Okay, now this is when he gets accused of being an anti-Semite. Okay, Malcolm X has been widely accused of being anti-Semitic. His autobiography contains several anti-Semitic charges and caricatures of Jews. Alex Haley, the autobiography. Now listen, y'all don't know about Alex Haley? So I don't know what to tell y'all, man. And I kind of referenced Alex Haley too, you know what I mean, the other day when I talked about Roots. But that's another situation, all right? Do your research on Alex Haley, okay? He might be featured on Black is Gold as well. Don't know? I'm not going to tell y'all, all right? The autobiography's co-author had to rewrite some of the book in order to eliminate a number of negative statements about Jews in the manuscript. Malcolm X believed that the fabricated anti-Semitic text, Prodigals of the Elders of Zion, was authentic and introduced it to the NOI members while also blaming Jewish people for perfecting the modern evil of neo-colonialism. He was also a leader figure in reshaping the Black community's perception of the Holocaust, engaging in Holocaust trivialization, and claiming that the Jews brought it on themselves. In 1961, Malcolm X spoke at an NOI rally alongside George Lincoln Rockwell, the head of the American Nazi Party. Rockwell claimed that there was overlap between Black nationalism and white supremacy. Even after his departure from the NOI and during the last months of his life, Malcolm X's statements about Jews continued to include anti-Semitic images of Jews as bloodsuckers. Ooh, man. Now, y'all seen a lot of people get on the flack of saying different things about that community, all right? Notably Kanye West. But Kanye West wasn't the first, all right? You know what I mean? He wasn't the first to do it. Malcolm X is one of the people who's leading that charge, all right? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people feel a lot of ways about these things. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. You know what I mean? Mr. You said if you want to tell me anything, go ahead, brother.
I mean, just one thing is just like baking a cake. If the ingredients is good and your family likes it, you bake it again. You put the recipe in the cookbook and you start to bake it for generations, and they eat it. And like he just said, this is not the first time we ate this cake. It tastes good before, it worked before. Let's bake it again.
God dang, man, y'all heard him, y'all. Y'all heard him, and he meant that too. Effect on nation membership. Malcolm X is widely regarded as the second most influential leader of the Nation of Islam after Elijah Muhammad. He was largely credited with the group's dramatic increase in membership between the early 1950s and early 60s from 500 to 25,000 by one estimate, from 1,200 to 50,000 or 75,000 by another. He inspired the boxer Muhammad Ali. If y'all know about Muhammad Ali, I'm not gonna say nothing else, man. I ain't gonna say nothing else. I ain't gonna say do your research. I'm not gonna say that again because y'all should know about him already, all right? And he definitely may be featured on Black is Gold, okay? He definitely may be featured. It is a strong possibility that Muhammad Ali is featured, all right? And the two became close. In January 1964, Ali brought Malcolm X and his family to Miami to watch him train for his fight against Sonny Liston. Y'all should know who that is. Do your research. When Malcolm X left the Nation of Islam, he tried to convince Ali, who had just been renamed by Elijah Muhammad, to join him in converting to Sunni Islam. But Ali instead broke ties with him, later describing the break as one of his greatest regrets. Damn. Malcolm X's mentor and guided Louis X, later known as Louis Farrakhan, who eventually became the leader of the Nation of Islam. Malcolm X also served as a mentor and confidant to Elijah Muhammad's son, Wallace E. Muhammad. The son told Malcolm X about skepticism towards father's unorthodox approach to Islam. Wallace Muhammad was excommunicated from the Nation of Islam several times, although he was eventually readmitted. Wow. Okay, so let's get into when he leaves, all right? So, now this is the disillusionment and departure, all right? During 1962 and 63, events caused Malcolm X to reassess his relationship with the Nation of Islam, and particularly its leader, Elijah Muhammad. All right, so this is the lack of Nation of Islam response to LAPD violence. In late 1961, there were violent conflicts between the Nation of Islam members and police in South Central Los Angeles, and numerous Muslims were arrested. They were acquitted, but tensions have been raised. Just after midnight on April 27, 1962, two LAPD officers, unprovoked, shoved and beat several Muslims outside Temple number 27. A large crowd of angry Muslims emerged from the mosque, and officers attempted to intimidate them. One officer was disarmed. His partner was shot in the elbow by a third officer. When the 70 backup officers arrived, who then raided the mosque and randomly beat Nation of Islam members. 70 officers? Damn. I mean, y'all bring 70 officers like it's really like it's like somebody about to get robbed or they about to get broken into. Like that shit is crazy. Police officers shot seven Muslims, including William X. Rogers, who was hit in the back and paralyzed for life. That's so effed up. And Ronald Stokes, a Korean War veteran, who was shot from behind while raising his hands over his head to surrender, killing him. That's wild. A number of Muslims were indicted after the event, but no charges were laid against the police. The coroner ruled that Stokes' killing was justified. His transcendence was justified. To Malcolm X, the desecration of the mosque and association violence demanded action. Excuse me, y'all. And he used what Louis X, later Louis Farrakhan, later called his gangster-like past to rally the more hardened of the Nation of Islam members to take violent revenge against the police. Malcolm X saw Elijah Muhammad's approval, which was denied, stunning Malcolm X. Malcolm X was again blocked by Elijah Muhammad when he spoke of the Nation of Islam, started with civil rights organizations, local black politicians, and religious groups. Louis X saw this as an important turning point in a deteriorating relationship between Malcolm X and Muhammad. Okay? So now there was some crazy behavior by Elijah Muhammad. I ain't gonna get into all that, all right? So I'm gonna get into the remarks on the Kennedy assassination, all right? So on December 1st, 1963, when asked to comment on assassination on the transcendence of John F. Kennedy, Malcolm X said that it was a case of chickens coming home to roost. He added, the chickens coming home to roost never did make me sad. They always made me glad. Likewise, according to the New York Times, in further criticism of Mr. Kennedy, the Muslim leader cited the murders of Patrice Lumumba, Congo leader of Medgar Evers, civil rights leader of the Negro girls bombed early this year in a Birmingham church. Yeah, the Birmingham church bombing, man. All these events was just wild, man. Yeah. Then he said were instances of other chickens coming home to roost. The remarks prompted widespread public outcry. Nation of Islam, which has sent a message of condolences to the Kennedy family, ordered its ministers not to comment on the transcendence publicly and censored their former shining star. Malcolm X retained his post and rank as a minister, but was prohibited from public speaking for 90 days. See, so what do you think about this, man?
I mean, there's consequences for our action. He shouldn't have spoke out about that, no matter how he felt. But you know, again, it was just ammunition to fire. With everything you said, the greatness that he was and the person he was. What I heard the most is that he asked his wife to marry him over the phone. You said that in the beginning, and that was very powerful to me, that, you know, a man that powerful, a man that was going to become to be who Malcolm X was and is to us now. He asked his wife to marry him over the phone, and she said yes. No fancy dinner, no flying out, over the phone. And he was a great man. So he's much more of an inspiration to me now.
Man. And yo, then that reminds me what I was saying about Frederick Douglass yesterday, brother, right? And how his wife was like, yo, she was putting money together in order to help him, you know what I mean, to be a politician and be a socialite, man. She was like, you know, helping him to get things done. She wasn't thinking about, was he a high value this, a high value that. She wasn't thinking about nothing. She was out there making sure that she was putting in the work to make sure that the movement was secured and that he could basically have his message put out there. You ask one of these minded women to help you put a message out there, you see how far it's gonna get you. You know what I mean? But listen, I know this ain't one of these streams, but yeah, you know what I mean? Like, man, Mr. He said, why you get me started, man? he knew what to say too. You know I was gonna say something about that. But yeah, man, that's an amazing thing. Like how the women back then, you know what I mean, they really stood by their men, you know what I'm saying? No matter what, okay? They wasn't worried about no side chick. They wasn't worried about none of this crazy stuff y'all be worrying about, man. They wasn't worried about what Beyonce was wearing or who was at the Grammys yesterday or Lizzo crying and all this other BS that y'all be on. They wasn't worried about none of that, man. They was really in tune with their man, okay? And it made a difference. You know what I mean? Women, learn from the women in the past who was in tune with their man. You know what I mean? In tune with their man. Not what was going on TV, not what was going on in social media, but with their man, okay? Their man. They want to keep their man, all right? If you want to keep your man, learn to be in tune with him. That's just a piece of advice. You ain't got, you know, you can do with it what you want. Now, media attention to Malcolm X over Muhammad. Malcolm X had by now become a media favorite, and some nation members believe he was a threat to Muhammad's leadership. Publicists have shown interest in Malcolm X's autobiography, and when Louis Lomax wrote his 1963 book about the nation, when the word is given, he used a photograph of Malcolm X on the cover. He also reproduced 5 of the speeches, feature only one of Muhammad's, all of which greatly upset Muhammad and made him envious. Departure from the Nation of Islam. On March 8, 1964, Malcolm X publicly announced his break from the Nation of Islam. Though still a Muslim, he felt that the nation had gone as far as it can because of its rigid teachings. He said he was planning to organize a black nationalist organization to heighten the political consciousness of African Americans. He also expressed a desire to work with other civil rights leaders, saying that Elijah Muhammad had prevented him from doing so in the past. Okay, so let's get into the activity after he left Nation of Islam. Okay, and now he only met with Martin Luther King once. Okay, and that was back in March 26, 1964, during the Senate debates. You know what I mean, regarding the eventual Civil Rights Acts of 1964. That is huge, y'all. Okay. And listen, if y'all don't know about the Civil Rights Acts, I'm not gonna tell you how to do your research because you're just dumb. I'm not gonna say do your research. That's just beyond stupidity. You know what I mean? So after leaving the Nation of Islam, Malcolm X founded Muslim Mosque Inc., MMI, a religious organization, and the Organization of African American Unity, a secular group that advocated Pan-Africanism. On March 26, 1964, he briefly met Martin Luther King Jr. for the first and only time, and only long enough for photographs to be taken. In Washington, D.C., as both men attended the Senate's debate on the Civil Rights Bill at the U.S. Capitol building. Wow. In April, Malcolm X gave a speech titled The Ballot or the Bullet, in which he advised African Americans to exercise their right to vote widely, but cautioned that if the government continued to prevent African Americans from attaining full equality, it might be necessary for them to take up arms. Ooh. In the weeks after he left the Nation of Islam, several Sunni Muslims encouraged Malcolm X to learn about their faith. He soon converted to the Sunni faith. So this is the pilgrimage to Mecca. Man, I heard this pilgrimage to Mecca it was real. Now, Mr. He said, have you ever been to Mecca? I have to ask, you know what I mean?
No, I have not yet, but I plan on it.
Man. And I heard it's a beautiful experience too. I heard it's a very beautiful experience. In April of '64, with financial help from his half-sister, Ella Little Collins, Malcolm X flew to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia at the start of his Hajj. The pilgrimage to Mecca, obligatory for every Muslim who was able to do so. He was delayed in Jeddah, where his U.S. citizenship and ability to speak Arabic caused his status as a Muslim to be questioned. He had received Abdul Rahman Hassan Azam's book, The Eternal Message of Muhammad, with his visa approval, and he contacted the author. Azam's son arranged for his release and lent him his personal hotel suite. The next morning, Malcolm X learned that Prince Faisal has designated him as a state guest. Several days later, after completing the Hajj rituals, Malcolm X had an audience with the prince. Malcolm X later said that seeing Muslims of all colors, from blue-eyed blondes to black-skinned Africans, interact as equals led him to see Islam as a means by which racial problems could be overcome. All right, now he went to Cairo, okay? So he visited Cairo, all right? He went to France and United Kingdom for a while, you know what I mean? Now, after returning to the U.S., Malcolm X addressed a wide variety of audiences. He spoke regularly at meetings held by MMI and the OOAU as one of the most sought-after speakers on college campuses. One of his top aides later wrote that he welcomed every opportunity to speak to college students. He also addressed public meetings of the socialist work parties, speaking at the Militant Labor Forum. He was interviewed on the subject of segregation and the Nation of Islam by Robert Penn Warren for Warren's 1965 book, Who Speaks for the Negro? So, y'all, that is the life of Malcolm X, y'all, all right? After that, he was around for a little while, and then he transcended, you know what I mean? I'm not going to get into the events of that, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Because, I want to highlight the highlights, man, you know what I mean? We know that most of the people transcended, they transcended in different ways. Unfortunately, his was tragic, you know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to highlight this man to show his greatness, all right? To show who Malcolm X was, is, and what he means to our people to this day. You know what I'm saying? Mr. He said, whatever close the comments, brother, go ahead before I close. And, you know what I mean? And definitely share who you are, man. And definitely why you mean so much to us in this YouTube community.
I just want to thank you, man. This will be short and sweet. Thank you for this whole segment, this Black is Gold. And thank you for this particular episode. Again, very near and dear to my heart. He is my adopted father. I did not have a father growing up, but this man I adopted, and I walk in his footsteps. I try to be a better man every day. I try to raise my daughters the best I can. I try to love my wife the best I can. And I try to, be an example to other men. And I think that's what he would have wanted. And I appreciate you again, man. This is He Said, She Said, Love and Abundance. We out here. So this was amazing, man. Salute to you.
Man, salute to you too, brother. Listen, y'all, you know what I'm saying? We appreciate y'all for tuning in. You know what I mean? As the great QB says, okay, our Heavenly Sister in the streams, be intentional, all right? Be intentional. You have a new week to be intentional, all right? Write in the comments how you're going to be intentional, okay? You know what I mean? As we're doing the Black is Gold series, you know what I mean? You can share it, in the comments. You can share it however you want to share it, y'all. Be intentional, all right? You know what I'm saying? Make that your motto, make that your stance, make that what you're doing. All right, I'm gonna be intentional this week of staying just positive, man. Staying focused, you know what I mean, and allowing love and positive energy to be around me and ignoring all negativity. That's what I'm being intentional about. All right. You know what I'm saying? Definitely, man. Rest in paradise to our sister, man. QB. You know what I'm saying? The awesome and wonderful QB. Salute to OG Patrice. You know what I mean? OG Patrice, greeting salutations, family, greeting salutations to you, OG Patrice. Listen, y'all, OG Patrice is coming back, you know what I mean? This Sunday, okay? Straight Up No Chaser Talk with OG Patrice. Be ready, okay? All right? Be ready. She's coming back, because, coming back in the close, the winter's about to close down. She's coming back, you know what I mean, to bring you some heat during the winter time. All right, be ready for that heat during the wintertime. OG Patrice about to deliver that to y'all. OG Patrice, I seen you singing the other day on that video from yesterday. You know what I mean? With with whoever you was singing with. I'm not gonna give it away. For those who know. You know what I mean? Y'all be nosy anyway, so I ain't gonna tell y'all. Well, I seen OG Patrice getting down. You know what I'm saying? Look at OG Patrice singing. You know what I mean? She was getting down on the microphone, man, representing. But yeah, Straight Up No Chaser Talk. We'll be back this Sunday, y'all. All right, tune in on Andre Relationships. You know what I mean? Thank you, brother. Thank you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. You know what I mean? OG Patrice saying hello. She stole my thunder. But yeah, y'all, listen. Be intentional, y'all. All right? I'm going to holler at y'all. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow. I got a lot of stuff for y'all tomorrow, man. A lot of stuff for y'all tomorrow, okay? On Intellectual Soapbox, okay? You know what I mean? And I'm going to say this. The person I'm going to cover tomorrow is truly one of our kings. And it's not the king. You know what I'm saying? The main king that, you know, that held it down for us throughout the civil rights era. With that, y'all, thank y'all. Love y'all. Peace.
The DJ.